Hello, travelers, and welcome back to the LZ. And we are just short of 1 week of Beyond having been launched, and all of our beautiful faces enjoying it here and there. Some of us have had issues, but what is this? A working Nexus? Well, mostly. So I can confirm that I officially have the Nexus functioning at mostly full capacity on both the PS4 Pro and the PC. So Hello Games have been working pretty much seemingly non-stop for the entire 4 days that the game has been out, producing 5 patches, first hitting the experimental branch on Steam that address probably a prioritization of game crashes and instability. And at the time of recording, Sean also tweeted that a fix has been put out for the Discovery servers to make sure that those are up and running. I haven't checked to see how stable they are currently, but I'm just assuming they're mostly fixed because I haven't seen any tweets or conversation to the contrary. And the game honestly is running beautiful for me on both platforms, especially PS4 Pro. Before Beyond dropped, my frame rate was all over the place, and there was a lot of hitching and things like that. And it never used to be like that with Next, so I'm thinking that some kind of progression or sort of save file bug just had it to where it was just running at a weird pace. But now it's just running at an almost near constant 60 frames per second, which is really cool. Now, of course, don't think that stops there, right? I'm pretty sure Hello Games are probably taking the weekend off for the most part to have a celebratory beer. They apparently dropped off some goodies at the UK meetup at the Three Pigeons, which Robot Boy posted an awesome photo of all of these travelers finally being able to meet each other on planets. Right, yeah, so that I know that joke's probably run its course, but whatever. I felt like an oldie but goodie was necessary. And this was something that I talked about last week before the game launched, that this is the regular thing for Hello Games to do. Obviously, with a tiny team and such a big, complicated game, that it was always going to launch with bugs and issues and instability and crashes and things like that, but they were going to work like hell to get it addressed right away. And this is sort of what made me angry earlier in the week, when you've got these sort of drive-by YouTubers putting up their finger quotes reviews of the game within the same day that the update launched, by the way. And incidentally, you don't see any large publications like Kotaku or IGN or those folks putting up their reviews for obvious reasons, right? Because they didn't get the update before the actual launch day, right? They didn't get review access or anything like that, and you just have to take time with these things. And I really think it's stupid that people that have obviously gone on record before of saying, I just can't recommend this game. This game is not for me. Don't play with me, bro. I know exactly why you're covering this game right now. It's super obvious why you're doing this. Now, don't get me wrong. I've posted on my community section here on the channel that my displeasure of these sort of drive-by YouTubers hunting for hate clicks, it's just uncalled for. Now, here's the thing. Like, it is perfectly right to call out bugs and crashes and things like that, but it is super necessary to do these things in good faith, right? And that's not what happened this week. And I sort of knew this was coming too, because it's just the regular way of things, right? Some of these folks weren't interested in objective and good faith coverage of this game. I mean, you can tell by the thumbnails that it just wasn't to happen, right? It wasn't the attention from the get-go. But speaking of which, I've also decided to sort of pin a brand new review for No Man's Sky. I'm gonna deliberately put together a script. I don't usually do scripts often anymore, right? I find that sort of organically creating content has been better for my channel. It has been better for the process. It is more efficient to my work-life balance, which is kind of nice to say, right? My uploads have quadrupled. My growth has quadrupled, right? It's been nice to be kind of not stressingly deliberate with things, right? I'll come with some, some bullet points and things to talk about. But I really feel like a new review of No Man's Sky is in order. I did an original review back at launch, of which I received a review copy from Sony, and it was nice to get. But I feel like it's time for somebody that is part of the No Man's Sky universe to write a review that is necessary for the current climate, and maybe addressing things of past in a better way than I think a lot of the edgy YouTubers on the platform can cover. So that's currently in the making. I look forward to that coming soon. And I'm excited to see sort of what Hello Games are doing here in the next weeks or so, right? I'm sort of I'm interested to sort of stabilize things, because obviously No Man's Sky is still not without bugs, right? There's a lot of stability issues. There's a lot of pop-in issues. I can think of a dozen bugs right off the top of my head that need ironing out. Things like I'm not able to land on planets as easily anymore. I could just be landing on a just flat area, and it'll tell me that the landing area is not clear. That stupid notification of the tech that pops up every 3 minutes, that's just sort of a meme now. Many of the PSVR users are complaining about low graphical fidelity, right? And I know a lot of folks are still excited for it, right? But it's kind of making me feel really good for not pulling the trigger on a PSVR specifically for this game, because honestly, looking at it, it is, yeah, I just can't. And it's not for disrespect of the game, but more of respect for the fact that I don't think my brain can handle it. The low graphical fidelity, bad headaches. I don't think suffering through an experience for the sake of trying to enjoyment, because it's kind of a game that I love, right? I just don't think that's a good way to go about things. So if I were to do the VR thing, it would probably be on PC. And I'm also looking into potentially maybe crowdfunding a new PC for the future of the LZ, and with something like VR in mind, right? I'm obviously, the budget is really, really crunched, and I don't intend for this channel to go anywhere but up, even outside of things like No Man's Sky at some point. But of course, VR is it is of an interest to me, right? Just the full experience, because something like PSVR, I think it would probably be more suffering than it would be fun for me. So obviously, it's looking like Hello Games have taken care of or are currently addressing a majority of the major bugs, and so historically they have moved on from the sort of game-breaking crashes, performance problems, bugs, and more into lesser bugs, improvements. They've even added a ton of additional features post-launch of major updates that weren't actually part of. I know a lot of folks are complaining about not being able to use the first-person camera in the Exocrafts, which I think is a unfortunate oversight or a bug. I'm not exactly sure which, but yeah, I'm kind of hoping that they address that. I would really love interiors for those vehicles. Totally agree with those. But I gotta say, performance-wise, the clouds look phenomenal. I was sort of scared that they weren't going to do anything about it. Kind of like the cloud guy, who's basically a meme in every single tweet that Sean puts out, complaining about the fidelity of the clouds. I don't know why he's still tweeting. He's got me blocked. I know that, because literally everybody in the community has dunked on him at some point for those sort of trashy tweets. But I honestly, I got to admit, I was a little reserved about it too. But seeing Beyond on both PC and PS4, like the clouds look absolutely wonderful. So I'm glad they did that. And there's definitely a lot of additions that really sort of weren't part of the patch notes that I love discovering, right? Caves are looking apparently phenomenal, like a lot of grassy caves I'm seeing in my Twitter feed now. Kind of looking to make one of those home at some point. And yeah, I'm really interested in sort of how things are going, bug fixes wise, address wise. But this has brought me to sort of my last point for the video, and I really think, here's the thing, I'm gonna be candid about this. I did not enjoy this process leading up from Visions to here. I've enjoyed that they gave us this update, and I understand why they did it, right? I understand that they didn't want these 3 previously planned piecemeal updates to go separately, and they just found it was better to put them together. That's totally fine. Can't be mad at that, right? It's past, it's done, we're all better for it. I just would love to see them go back to the Abyss and Visions style updates, right? I think now that we've gotten sort of past online, now that we've gotten past on VR, and we've gotten past sort of a new foundation of sorts to which they can build meat upon the bones, I'm really hoping that Hello Games goes back to what Visions and Abyss did, right? Every few months, they're dropping something that is, not nearly as big as Beyond, but it didn't have to be, right? Visions and Abyss sort of had their own identity by themselves that were meaty enough. I enjoy the regular engagement from Sean. I enjoy the tighter loops of continuity from the studio. Now that, No Man's Sky is 3 years long in the tooth, and I'm wondering sort of what it is that they're excited about to put in next. I know what I'm excited about them putting in the next updates. I have a ton of ideas that obviously could be a future video, but I'm really hoping they return to that structure, right? And here's why. I don't want to say that and then not say why. No Man's Sky has got No Man's Sky Online particularly has a lot of potential. I absolutely love the Nexus. I love the concept of that. I love that it doesn't go out of its way to shrink the galaxy in sort of an arbitrary way. I love the new features. I haven't played with all of them just yet. I know that I've got some farms to build and stuff like that, which is going to be kind of cool. But I really want them to expand on the No Man's Sky Online aspect. I desperately want them to further expand and deepen that. Leading up to the launch of Beyond, I was always of the opinion that I was absolutely done asking for things that didn't have meaning and purpose, right? And to an extent, a lot of what they added in Beyond was still that, right? It was, and we'll talk about that in the review that I've got priming and writing right now, that it is, No Man's Sky Online is there. It's cool. The Nexus is amazing, but, and that's a huge but, I said huge but, that's funny. I still find it that it is a thing that is now presented opportunity that I hope they chase after, right? I hope that is what they're aiming to do, because, and in a shorter bite-sized way, right? It would be an unfortunate thing if another year has to pass before something deeper happens. Now, and I know Hello Games are a tiny team. I know that their bandwidth is but so much, especially with Ennis McKendrick out on his journey, on his long hike, right? That's important for him too, and those pictures from his tweets are also super awesome, by the way. So I recommend you go check those out. I'm not even sure that Ennis even still works for the company anymore, but they made him part of the patch notes, which was super cute. But that was one of Hello Games' prime coders, right? So one of the big shots at the place, right? That helped sort of drive the creative infrastructure and coding infrastructure of No Man's Sky. But with the upcoming continuity of the community missions and things like that, I'm really hoping that they bring to the forefront a lot of the potential that No Man's Sky Online has, and maybe sort of how it can connect with those that don't necessarily like with playing other people. I would also like to see them incentivize players playing together, right? It's one thing that I found an opportunity for in the Nexus is that the player missions and things like that they're cool. They're basically what we've kind of already got in the game, right? You're just kind of doing it together. Next, introduce that to a degree. And maybe I just haven't dove deep enough into it, which I'm obviously doing. I work 50 hours a week at my real-time job, so it's like trying to find that balance with that and a wife and 2 kids is, while still trying to get sleep, by the way, is definitely a challenge. But at the same time, I'm really hoping they chase after that, and I'm hoping that we encourage them to look at the potential of No Man's Sky now that it sort of seems like the entire foundation is there to build the house on. So I'm hoping to see that happen, folks. folks, let me know in the comments what you think about Beyond, what the future should look like. Be anticipating my review coming up here in the next week or two, hopefully, if I can arrange the time to sort of deliberately. I've got a lot of funny and awesome ideas cooking up for that review that you're not going to want to miss. And don't forget, Tuesday night, Central Time, the LZ NMS cast continues. It's been an excellent month. We've had 4 shows now, and I've had an amazingly awesome time so far just talking with you all. So do be here on Tuesday night, Tuesday evening, 8 p.m. Central Time, for all of us to get together and celebrate and have super awesome conversations about No Man's Sky. Thank you all for stopping by the LZ, and special thanks to the LZ members that joined on the last show. It's super nice to have all of you. Just in the last month, we've gotten Ivy Mike, DM21 Gaming, Laughtercraft, KGPC Gaming, and DK Lols has all joined the LZ, and you can too to help support keep this show afloat. And once again, thank you all for stopping by, and see you in the next one.